And I think we're there, board once again. Welcome to this live stream. Today, Board is with me, as always. And we're going to talk about data modeling design patterns, which we have done before. But today, we're going to start a series, talk about different types of design patterns. And first up, as you probably have seen from the title, is Semantic Classification Bridge.
That's a fancy word you came up with there, Didrik. But in all fairness, we've been working a lot with our clients and partners on data modeling. And what we aim to do with this live stream, and we will start a series because we will do one on different design patterns, which are common ways of modeling your data. That you can reuse across projects. So it's basically lessons learned and recipes for data modeling. So, and if you look at what do we mean by semantic classification bridge, right? Okay, that's a fancy word. But let's take a look at an example here. So basically, the goal here is to model reusable, perhaps expressive product data. What do we mean by that? Because if you're going to have, let's say, on a product, a pizza, you want to have allergens. You could do that with simple labeling. So like in Crystalize, you could use topic maps, which is fine for classification, or you could use like an enum data type. That's fine. You will be able to list all the allergens if that's the requirement. But usually, at least we prefer to have more rich product data. We call it product storytelling. And it's basically giving all the information for the potential client to be informed or inspired to purchase this product. I mean, that's the end goal here. And we see this pattern popping up again and again. And Derek, you have done a lot of data modeling with our clients.
Yeah, and just like you're saying, so often here you could do it with topic maps, but the downside here is that topic maps is just a label or an ID. In this case, if you want to do for allergens, you might want to say that something more about it, might want to have a label for it, maybe actions if somebody accidentally got it through their food or ate it, which has an allergen. So it's about expanding upon the information when it comes to milk or mustard, more than just a label, more than what we would call in the technical part an enum.
Yeah, and not all organizations are selling food. Do you have some other examples that you've seen over the years where this type of data modeling pattern is preferred?
Definitely. So this is just one, and that's because one of our Hello World examples often in data modeling is a recipe. It's the pizza, but you could do this for, let's say, certifications, technical standards, brand, just a brand. Which kind of brand is this product? What's the URL for this brand?
And also for a brand, because now there are also standards that define that if you're selling a product, let's say it's a multi-product company, you have to also display the full information about the brand or the manufacturer, right? So brand name, address, contact information, website, and all of that information, right? So it's more than just having it's a Nike product or whatever you are selling.
Yeah, and the simplest case is also that you want the brand name, but also the logo. So you want the image and you want the label or the name of the company. And one that we also see often is material.
Yeah, that's
you want to have a bit more than just the hex color showing a color on the display. Maybe you want the RAL color more in-depth. If it's not just a texture or textile, it might be a different type of material. And all of this you can especially add to these sorts of fields or these sorts of bridges.
Yeah, and the name of the pattern is pretty straightforward, right? So it's semantics, it's describing, which is literally what it means, but it also classifies, and it's this bridge that we're building between the product and the descriptive classification. That's basically where the name for the pattern comes from, which is probably one of the more common design patterns that we see coming up in data models with crystallize. And as you say, with a material like fabric, I think it's a very good example because it might be blue, it might be a fabric. You probably want to have an image of it, or if you look at like we have customers like Sweef, which they're designing and manufacturing furniture. And of course, they use a lot of photos of the fabric, but in different contexts. So they use a lot of outside photos for some reason. But you see it with different lights and in different contexts because the fabric will vary. So that's a very good example of where you want to have more than just, okay, it's a blue cotton fabric or whatever type of fabric it is. So how would we do this in crystallize, you say?
Of course, I always ask that.
Yeah. So we have a pizza. And what's our goal here now? So we have a pizza, and if we're going to legally have that on a menu and be able to sell it, we have to provide allergen information. So we're going to show the end result first. So basically, what the model does here is you have the product details, and here we have different allergens. So you have the main allergens, you have may contain traces of, and free for, which is a typical way of displaying allergen information. So we get a couple of benefits here. One that I like is it looks good as an editorial user, right? It's simple to add and remove, and it's very, very visual, right? So this is basically allowing me to add this type of classification for this pizza contains these allergens, and of course the classification I've done is doesn't make sense. That is not the point. But tell me a little bit more about these documents, right? Because the concept in crystallize is that you can have different, we call it shapes. So you can have a product shape, which has a set structure, like we have here with the pizza. But we can also use rich marketing content or rich content in general, which is structured data in, we call it documents, right? Yeah. So what do we see here, Didrik?
So this is, what you see here is what we call the nerdy view, with all of the different documents or all the allergens that you have defined, which are separate entities in the catalog, but you have related them into another shape. So it's easy to fetch in the context of allergens. So the benefit here is that, let's say that there is a new allergy that appeared, or one of them has changed because there's a new recommendation. You only have to do that once, instead of if you were to have the allergens field as something that was a part of the product shape, the product itself, you would have to go into each and every product to add the new information. So this means that this information lives once and one place only in your tenant.
Because we've seen people model allergens like a text field. So they paste in the text, they can display it on the storefront, and they're happy. But you don't benefit of a single source of truth, right? That's a pattern that should be applied for any type of data modeling. And so this is a pretty simple shape. We call it allergen. It's just defining a document in crystallize where we've added label, an icon, scientific name, description, and severity notes. And here, of course, what you want as fields will vary depending on if you're building, is it a brand? It will be different information. If it's a fabric, like we talked about, you want pictures, you want color codes and matching colors and things like this. So that's basically how we've set up the document shape. And in addition to this, we have we have on our product shape, just to show how this is modeled. We have essentially created a piece for food properties. And if we look at food properties, it's basically a chunk with allergen information, and where we have relations to documents of shape allergen, right? So it's a relation that's the bridge to the semantic classification, which is essentially the documents, one or more documents that contains the information about a specific allergen. So that's essentially the model for this, and basically that enables you to get up models like we have here. Other examples might be like product passport data, so digital product passport data. Very short and sweet sentence. And here you have a lot of labeling, right? So you have eco label, you have ISO certifications and things like this. So it's referring to a definition of compliance standard, for example. So it's a very, very usable design pattern when you're doing data modeling.
Yeah, and especially in this case, you probably want to talk a bit more about the certification. What is this certification? So it's a good point of that you can enable more for your labeling and classification.
Yeah, it's more expressive than just having a string-based label, right? You can tell the story and you can inform people about all of the properties of that certification or that allergen that we're talking about in this example. So that's the design pattern. This is the first one. We will be doing a series of this. Next up is another pattern which builds on this but takes it to the next level. Since you're still watching, click.
That's
notified when we actually do the next live stream there. If it's on LinkedIn, follow, and same on YouTube, subscribe, and then you will get the notification next time we schedule a live stream. That's it. Thanks for watching.